I'm Stephanie, and let's talk books. May is the month that the Medieval-a-thon is going on, so I thought I would bust out my Renaissance costume for the occasion because the Renaissance Festival is one of my favorite things, and I'm very excited for this medieval-themed readathon. So the Medieval-a-thon is a medieval-themed read-along hosted by Holly over at Holly Hearts Books, and I will go ahead and leave a link to the intro video for this challenge down in the description below. So the way the Medieval-a-thon works is there are several different categories in which you can earn different things. The first category is rank, and that is dependent upon the number of books that you read in the month. And you can start out as a lowly peasant and work your way up to being emperor or empress. You can use books for the other prompts to count towards your total number of books read in the month, or also read whatever books you're in the mood to count for this portion of the readathon. I will be going for Empress, which is reading 7 books in the month. The next section of the readathon is to earn a wardrobe, and there are several different prompts where you can earn different outfits for your character. So the first outfit is kind of a tavern wench dress, and for this prompt you have to read a book that has yellowed on the edges. I'll be reading The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. So this is a nonfiction book about a boy from the country of Malawi who dreams of bringing electricity and water to his village, and so it's kind of an inspirational story. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but this was a book that I saw recommended by someone I follow on Instagram, and it sounded interesting, so I thought I would pick this one up. And you can see the edges are kind of yellowed. They definitely look darker than the actual pages. So I have this book. Next up is a noble lady's dress, and for this prompt you have to read a pristine book, a book that is in good condition. So I've decided to read Ink and Bone. This is the first book in the Great Library series, and I don't know a whole lot about this book except it has to do with a world where the libraries control all the information and people aren't allowed to own books, and that sounds super fascinating to me, so I wanted to start this series. And because this has been in its nice protective library jacketing, it is in excellent condition, so that will be my book for that. The next outfit is kind of like a fantasy battle dress, including some armor pieces. So for this prompt we had to pick a shiny book, and I decided to put in Dark Age by Pierce Brown. This is one of the books in the Red Rising series that I've been working through, and it is nice and shiny. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but the actual dust jacket underneath the library plastic cover is a very shiny gold color, so I thought that that would be great for this prompt. The next outfit is kind of what I would imagine like a lady woodsman would wear, and for this prompt you have to pick a book that includes your favorite color. Now, my favorite color is green, and there is a prompt later on to read a book with a green cover, so I decided to choose a book that had some of my other highly ranked but not quite favorite colors. And so for this I picked Untamed by Gwendolyn Doyle. The whole cover palette of this cover is just like all my favorite colors. We got teals, we got pinks, we got blues. They're all cool colors. We got some glitter in there. So yeah, lots of really good cover colors on this cover. This is another book that was recommended to me by somebody on Instagram, and I don't know a whole lot about it except for it's kind of like a motivational memoir type book. And so the last book that I read on the recommendation of this person was super good, so I'm going to pick this up, and since that person recommended it to me, I've seen some other people read it and say that it's absolutely wonderful, so we're going to add another nonfiction to the TBR this month. So the next outfit is kind of a men's peasant-y looking ensemble, and for this one we have to read a book under 300 pages, so I'll be reading The Spartan Way by Joe DeSena. This is yet another nonfiction book. I know a lot of nonfiction, this month, but you know, that's okay. And it is kind of an inspirational, motivational book to help you train and prepare for these Spartan races, which is one of my big goals this year, is to run more obstacle course races. I was actually supposed to run an obstacle course race on May 3rd, but that has been canceled due to all of the craziness going on and it not being safe to be in massive groups of people. So I thought this would be a great book to kind of help continue to motivate me to work out and run while I'm waiting for my next Spartan race to come. The next outfit is a sort of green elvish looking outfit, and this is a prompt to read a book with green on the cover. So I'm going to be reading Reaper at the Gates. I have been rereading the Ember in the Ashes series, and so this is one I'm hoping to pick up on audiobook to read. But as you can see, it's got some really beautiful green on the cover. It's so pretty. So the next outfit is kind of a very flashy looking suit of armor. And so for this outfit, you have to read a book with dragons on the cover, and I'm going to read Priory of the Orange Tree, which is a big chunker, but this is a book that I have been wanting to read for quite a while. And again, it's one I don't know a whole lot about, except that there's dragons. So yeah, that sounds super awesome. I'm always up for a dragon book, and I've had quite a few people tell me that this is awesome and I need to read it, so we're gonna do it. So for the next session, you can choose to read prompts which will earn you different weapons. And so I've picked some weapons to shoot for. The first one is the sword, and to get a sword, you have to read a book with something pointy on the cover. So I'll be reading Blood of Elves, which is the third book in the Wisher series, and you can see on the cover, Geralt has some pointy things that he is using to slay some monsters. I'll be reading this one on audiobook. So for the daggers prompt, you have to read either the first or second book in a duology. I don't really know of a lot of duologies. I feel like that's not a very common thing. I think it is in YA fantasy, but I don't have any, so I'm going to skip the daggers prompt. But I am going to go for the bow and arrows prompt, and for the bow and arrows you have to read a romance, and for that I'm reading A Torch Against the Night. This is not a book that is only about romance. There are other things that go on here, but there is a strong romance plot in this book, and it's one that I really enjoy. I need to read this one before I get to Reaper at the Gates. So again, this is another one that I'm going to be picking up on audiobook. The next weapon is a battle axe, and for this prompt you have to pick a heavy book. So I decided to add Dune to my TBR. This is a book that I have been wanting to read this year, and as you can see, it's a chunker. It's super chunky. And despite the fact that this is the paperback edition, it's got some nice heft to it. Like, it's a nice thuddy book. So I decided to pick this one for my heavy book. And the last weapon you can get is a shield, and for the shield you have to pick a book that you have high expectations for. So I decided to use this for Primal Endurance. Yet again, another nonfiction book. This is a book by Mark Sisson. So Mark is a supporter of the Primal Diet, as well as being a former long-distance runner and elite endurance athlete. So this is his book that he put out especially for endurance athletes. So it's got all kinds of stuff about nutrition and how to train and how to recover, all with endurance athletes who are looking not just to get peak performance in the short term, but to do it in a way that is really healthy and is going to prevent injuries and damage to your body in the long term, so you can continue to be active and healthy for as long as possible. And so the next set of prompts has to do with animal companions that you can collect for yourselves. Now, I kind of went a little bit overboard on the wardrobe and the weapons, so I'm going to reel it in a little bit for the animal companions, and I'm just picking two of the prompts to go for. The first prompt is horse, which is to read a tall hardcover. So I'm going to be reading Iron Gold for this, and again, this is one I need to read before I can read The Dark Age, so better get chopping on this book. And the last prompt is Fox, which is to read a book with an orange cover. And then I went to go do my TBR for this month, and I've got like 4 or 5 books already that have an orange cover or orange somewhere on the cover. But you know, I found another one, and that will be Paper and Fire. This is the sequel to Ink and Bone. Again, assuming that I finish the first one and I like it. I will be doing this one as well. I don't know, I just love the covers on this book. The series looks super interesting. I tend not to purchase later books in the series until I've read the first one and know that I'm gonna like it, but you know, I got book 2, so that is it for my Medieval-a-thon TBR. I've got a grand total of 13 books on my TBR, which is kind of hefty. I'm not sure I'll make it through all of them. It kind of depends on the state of the world. I know in April I've been on a stay-at-home order, which means I've been reading a freaking lot of books. Yeah, a lot. So if that continues in May, where things are still kind of shut down and we're spending most of our time at home, I can see myself easily getting through quite a few of these books, especially since some of them are going to be on audio and I can listen to those at work. But you know what? Even if I don't make it through all of them, I will have a lot of fun, and I know I'm going to have some great reads in May. So thanks for watching.